What if the most expensive mistake in human history wasn't a calculated war, but a single disconnected phone line? Imagine the absolute silence of a Saturday afternoon in October, a silence so thick you could hear the rhythmic ticking of a wristwatch inside a concrete bunker 5 floors down. In your history, the Cuban Missile Crisis ended with a sigh of relief that echoed through generations. But in our archive, that sigh was strangled by a scream that never ended. On October 27, 1962, known to us as the Black Saturday, the world held its breath as 2 superpowers danced on the jagged edge of oblivion. In your timeline, a last-minute deal pulled us back. But here, the fate flip occurs. A massive solar storm in the ionosphere severs the fragile communication link between the Kremlin and the Caribbean. A Soviet commander, cut off and fearing his motherland has already been turned to glass, authorizes the launch of a single R-12 missile. Its tail fire carves a permanent scar across the Havana sky. Within 90 minutes, the silent winter begins. I am your chronicler, and this is the Fate Flip history. Today, we witness the birth of a world that grew cold before it could grow old.
The tactical escalation was instantaneous, a mechanical reflex of a world programmed for suicide. As soon as that first warhead vaporized the palms of Cuba, the global supply chain evaporated in a heartbeat. There was no time for geopolitical strategy or the elegant moves of diplomatic chess. There were only the brutal, cold mathematics of the lead standard. Overnight, gold became just a soft, useless metal. Diamonds became charcoal. Paper currency became kindling for fires that couldn't stay lit. In a world where the sky is falling as radioactive ash, the only currency that matters is the thickness of your cadmium shielding and the purity of your air filters. The global economy didn't just crash, it turned into a ghost haunting the ruins. The stock exchanges of New York and Tokyo didn't hit zero. On our maps, the cities themselves hit zero. The domino effect wasn't political, it was physical and atmospheric. One city fell, and the soot from its burning marrow rose into the stratosphere, forming a black shroud that strangled the sun. By the winter of 1963, the global temperature had plummeted 40 degrees. Every major capital from Washington to Moscow vanished beneath a radioactive permafrost that would not clear for 64 years. The sun became a myth, a bedtime story told by grandmothers to children born in the flickering shadows of uranium lamps. Stop. Consider the ultimate tragedy of the hotline. In your world, that direct red line was the savior of humanity. In this timeline, its absence was a death sentence for 4 billion unborn souls. But as the surface turned into a wasteland of black ice, humanity found a new way to burn. When the sun is extinguished, you don't look for fire, you look for the atom. You don't rebuild a civilization with wood and stone, you rebuild it with lead and steam. Welcome to June 2026, the deep heart of the silent winter. Here, nuclear energy isn't a political debate or an environmental concern. It is the only breath of life left in the frozen, scarred lungs of the planet. Your world relies on microchips and the silicon-based elegance of the internet. Those delicate circuits were fried in the massive EMP pulses of '62. Instead, we have perfected the Rad-Science,
a heavy, brutal mechanical technology powered by uranium and cooled by liquid nitrogen. The Orbis-Net is not a cloud. It is a sprawling labyrinth of buried copper cables the size of ancient oaks and mechanical relay stations that clatter with the sound of 1,000 skeletal typewriters. The ionosphere remains a churning sea of static and auroral fire, a permanent crown of radiation. Deep beneath the permafrost, the underground stock exchanges trade in the only commodities that hold value: gallons of filtered water, oxygen canisters, and lead shielding plating. Investors in 2026 don't bet on social media apps. They bet on technological evolution, specifically the thermal efficiency of the Goliath trains, massive nuclear steam locomotives that roar through the dark, connecting the bunker cities of the north. Every city is now a lead fortress. The walls are 10 feet thick, lined with cadmium and reinforced concrete to repel the silent ghost, the invisible radiation that still howls through the frozen ruins above. In the tunnels of underground London, people walk in heavy suits made of lead-woven silk, their path lit by the eerie, hypnotic blue glow of Cherenkov radiation. But if the entire human race has moved into the cellar, who is left to watch the sky? The crisis management of the last 60 years has birthed a terrifying new caste system: the Cloud Kings and the Scavengers. This is the ultimate resource allocation nightmare. While the elite, the descendants of the original high command and the ultra-wealthy, live in sky citadels, high-altitude fortresses that float on massive nuclear thermal balloons above the soot clouds, the rest of humanity rots in the iron bowels of the earth. Life as a bunker citizen is a sensory prison. It is the permanent smell of ozone and wet metal. It is the constant metallic tang of desalinated water that never quite loses the taste of the dead. You wake up not to the sound of birds, but to the rhythmic, low-frequency hum of the reactors, the artificial heartbeat of a civilization that forgot what a tree looked like. The Global Fallout Command ensures you are fed a synthetic nutrient paste and kept warm, but every calorie is a data point in a central ledger, and every word spoken is recorded and weighed for its stability quotient. In this 2026, the global economy is simply the management of human livestock. You are not a citizen. You are an asset to be maintained or liquidated if your radiation levels exceed the quota.
What of the world we left behind? On the surface, the silent winter has created a new, alien ecology. The ruins of Paris and New York are not empty. They are home to the Rad-Stalkers, mutated remnants of life that have adapted to feed on the alpha particles. Trees with translucent, crystalline leaves grow in the black snow, absorbing the radiation that would kill a man in minutes. Occasionally, a scavenger expedition ascends from the bunkers in heavy brass and lead diving suits to reclaim a piece of old-world technology, a lost painting, a mechanical watch, a reminder of when we walked in the sun. But for the most part, the surface is a tomb of ice and light. It is a reminder that the planet will survive us.
The Earth didn't die in 1962, only our place upon it did. We are now a parasitic species, clinging to the warmth of our uranium cores, hiding from a sky that we turned into a weapon. The coin is spinning in the irradiated wind, reflecting the cold gray majesty of a world that chose safety over everything else. We have seen a 2026 where war is impossible because there is nothing left to destroy, where the borders are made of lead and the sky is a ceiling. Peace here isn't a diplomatic treaty, it is just a different kind of armor. We survived the fire, but we are drowning in the ice.
As your chronicler, I must ask you the question that haunts the deepest levels of our vault. In 2026, the Global Fallout Command provides you with air, food, medicine, and total security. You will never starve. You will never be a victim of crime. You will live a long, sterile life, but you have zero freedom. No vote, no voice, no choice of where to go or what to think. Is survival without liberty a victory, or is it just a slower, more comfortable death inside a gilded cage of lead? Go to the comments right now. Tell me, would you trade your messy, chaotic, and dangerous freedom for the guaranteed life of a bunker citizen? Would you rather die in the sun or live in the dark? This is where the real history is finalized, in the choices you make when the world goes cold. If you felt the chill of the silent winter today, hit the like button. Subscribe to the Fate Flip History to ensure you are here when the next vault door creaks open. Our library is infinite, our curiosity is aflame, and the next coin is already in the air. I am your chronicler. Until the next flip.